The king of Zodanga saw they were about to catch up. He quickly called upon the weapon given to him by God. Under divine messenger's instigation, he fatally struck the opponent. At this time the hiding Tharks were enjoying the show. They were cheering while shooting down the airship. The helium airship lost power and stopped in the air. Then King Zodanga engaged in battle after boarded in the airship. He searched through the crowd only to find the opportunity to attack Princess Helium. At this moment, Princess Helium had already disguised and arrived at the enemy's airship. She then started the airship and prepared to escape. The king, upon discovery, swiftly commanded pursuit. Everyone jumped out of the airship and fell to the ground. Now multiple airships surrounded her. Unable to brake in time, the princess was hit out of the cabin. Seeing the situation was extremely critical, Carter discovered that she was a human through the telescope. Carter leaped up and jumped towards the sky. Then he directly caught the falling princess in his hands. After that, he landed smoothly. Zodanga soldiers tried to snatch the princess again. They were immediately struck by Carter. Seeing that the enemy was numerous, Carter followed the principle of capturing the leader first. He leaped up and jumped towards the airship of the Zodanga king. However, this scene directly stunned the princess. Then he broke into the cannon compartment and aimed at the enemy warship. He launched a fierce bombardment, causing 2 airships to fall. The Zodanga king observed the unfavorable situation and desired to kill Carter. But now, the divine messenger grew curious about Carter. So he let the king personally go and capture him. Thus, a fierce confrontation between Carter and the king Zodanga. It's undeniable that the Martians were highly skilled with their cold weapons. Carter was quickly overpowered by the king. Just as he was about to execute Carter on the spot, the Tharks woke up suddenly. Unable to bear seeing their own man bullied, they pointed thousands of rifles at one airship. Carter took the opportunity, leaped up, and then used another airship as a buffer. He promptly reached the ground. Even the Zodanga feared provoking the savage Tharks. So they wisely fled from here. This was the most popular time for humans to come to Mars. Just as he was about to escape, he was grabbed by Dogula. As a result, he became the hero of the Tharks. The chief removed his tie, which symbolized glory, and directly put it around the neck of Carter. All the Tharks on Mars cheered for Carter. And they also gave the captured princess to Carter as a gift. Looking at the wreckage in front of him after the battle, Carter was actually hating it very much. But the princess before him informed him, "If the enemy aimed their weapons at us, we resisted. Defending our ethnicity was noble and ideal." Princess hoped to receive help from Carter to repel the kingdom of Zodanga's attack. But Carter only wanted to return to Earth. And the first thing he needed to do was secretly to steal symbol stone from the chief. Princess looked at the symbol stone on the chief's neck, as well as Carter's exceptional jumping ability. Now she thought Carter was the legendary Scene. In ancient times, God's intermediary to the Martian tribe. To understand the situation, the three covertly went to the Tharks temple. Sola was aware that trespassing the temple was punishable by death. No matter how she tried to dissuade them, the two were still determined. In the temple, they found the ancient legend on the totem. Just went to the holy gate of Mars and opened it with the pumice key. In theory, anyone could freely travel between planets in the universe. So Carter could also return to his Earth. Just after the two had just figured all this out. At this moment a gun suddenly was pointed against Sola's head. They trespassed into the temple and were discovered by the Tharks. Even though Carter was now a hero among the Tharks, trespassing into the temple was enough to warrant his execution. So, in front of everyone, the chief picked up Carter and took him to the tent. He pretended to execute them, but used 4 hands to cover the three's mouths. He prepared to let them leave quietly, because Sola was the daughter of the chief. It turned out that after the chief's wife laid an egg, she kept it secretly, shaping Solara's special identity. Because of this, she was often looked down upon by her fellow tribe members. As the depute chief grew impatient, he opened the tent and found them had already escaped. The three rode horned beasts through the Martian desert. Mars relics suggested past prosperity here. The kingdom of Zodanga emerged and ravaged civilizations successively, annihilating them completely. They grew tired, drank by the river with their horses. Meanwhile the two had feelings to each other. They also had to dodge airships from Zodanga, as well as the harsh weather. Didn't know how long they had been waiting. Energetic hunting dog Ula began to become listless. At this point, Sola reminded Carter abruptly. It seemed that they were moving in opposite directions all along. This instantly angered Carter. He quickly questioned the princess. The princess was drawn to Carter's exceptional combat skills. She deceived Carter and took him to Helium to fight. However, Carter resolutely refused as he hated war from beginning to end. Just as Carter was about to leave, the princess finally said the most difficult words for her to say. She didn't want to marry the king of Zodanga. That was what he was taught to hate since she was young. At this moment, Carter stopped and promised her that after discovering the secret of the Holy Gate, he would willingly fight for the princess's kingdom. They soon reached the sacred site of the Holy Gate. But can you imagine, there was actually water on Mars? At this moment, Carter discovered that Sola was preparing to sacrifice herself, using her insignificant life to bless the Tharks. Carter jumped up and went to her side. To stop her, Carter exposed the chief's secret. Sola was the chief's daughter. This made Sola feel incredible. So she promised Carter to help him find the way home first. They sailed towards the direction of the Holy Gate, leaving Ula alone by the river. At this moment, the divine messenger had already sensed their arrival in advance. In order to stop them, he was about to start a bloody battle here. As Carter and the others reached the lake center, they found that there were already other Tharks heading for the pilgrimage. Shortly after, they saw the Holy Gate in front of their eyes. Sora quickly knelt down and devoutly worshipped. This relic was as tall as dozens of floors. At the Holy Gate, Carter lifted the princess, leaped into the air and rose higher. Just as they landed steadily, the symbol stone in Carter's waist glowed brightly. This relic seemed to be electrified, slowly undergoing miraculous changes. At this moment, right in front of them, a holy gate suddenly slowly opened. When they arrived inside, a beam of light outlined a planet in the solar system. Carter stepped on the light representing Earth with his foot. Lines of light appeared leading to different planets. A series of mysterious characters appeared between Earth and Mars. Some of the content indicated that the meaning of the copy, just like a telegram, which meant that Carter had been copied over. There was another body of himself on Earth, and to travel between planets, he needed to translate the final set of spells. At this time, they heard Ula's barking outside, requesting help. Without hesitation, they grabbed the enigmatic sign and hurriedly left. When they went outside, they saw Ula pointing elsewhere. It was the Wo native tribe. Their expressions clearly revealed their ferocity. Under Sola's anticipation, they finally landed. But the Wo people on the other side had been surrounded around the rock wall. They were very crazy and quite a lot. Carter decided to fight alone and let Sola take the princess and leave first. Meanwhile, a pack of fierce beasts ahead went wild. Carter and Ula stared at each other. Carter asked Ula to evacuate fast. But Ula was stubborn and insisted on following him even if it meant death. This was the true meaning of Carter's battle on the planet Barsum. Anger spread, turning into deadly intent. Carter and Ula rushed into the enemies and fought fiercely, deserving the title of a heroes. Every leap, a wild beast fell. Every swing of the blade splattered ink. Ula deliberately restrained some enemies with speed. Sola and the princess were in unbearable pain. Too many Wo people surrounded Carter in the center. Unable to flee, he wielded his weapon and resisted desperately. But being outnumbered, he was eventually overwhelmed by the continuous stream of enemies. Reinforcements arrived at critical moments. Shells scattered the Wo tribe, forcing them to scatter. The battle ended in just 10 seconds. The princess quickly embraced her own king. However, the king was not a good father. He chose to marry his daughter to the king of Zodanga for peace and protection of his people. This was undoubtedly cruel for the princess. Fortunately, Carter was still alive. When he woke up, he found himself in the castle of the Zodanga. With the instruction of the soldier sent by the princess, he used his ability to reunite with her. They burst into the princess's boudoir. Later, the princess asked everyone to leave and informed Carter of her impending marriage. She hoped Carter would say something, but he hesitated after thinking about his deceased wife. The princess admired a brave warrior. Unable to win over his heart, she then recited the deciphered spell to him. This was the only way Carter could return to Earth. As the spell ended, King of Zodanga burst in. By then, Carter had vanished. The princess suddenly felt lonely in the empty room. However, when she turned around, she regained her proud posture. Carter did not recite the final line of the spell. Instead, he leapt onto the rooftops partition. He chose to stay and assist the princess.